This is example 1 of lesson 4.5, perimeter with fractions. We're going to use the given measurements to find the perimeter of the polygon. Now, remember, perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape, not the inside. So perimeter is the fence that you would build around the outside. So how long are all of these lines when I add them up? So, I just said what operation we're going to be using. We're going to be adding all these lines up. So let's go ahead and write out our equation. It's going to be kind of long, but we have to remember to add up all of the sides. So it's going to look something like this. Let me scooch this up a little bit. I'll start here. 5/16 plus 5/16 plus, oh, there's 1 1/8. 1 1/8 plus another 1 1/8. 1 1/8 plus another 5/16 plus another 5/16. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/16 and 2 1 1/8. Now, this, I can ignore the shape now. I can pretend the shape no longer exists. Shape doesn't even need to exist anymore. All I need to look at is this addition problem. So I'm going to scooch this up. I'll keep the shape in view just for fun, but it's just an addition problem now. Now all it is adding. So how do I add fractions? What do I need to do first? The first thing I need to do is find the common denominator. I have two denominators here, two different ones. One of them is 8 and one of them is 16. And I know that the least common multiple of 8 and 16 is 16. So these fractions are going to stay the same. 5/16 are going to stay the same. It's the 8ths that are going to change. And I know that to go from 8 to 16, I multiply by 2. What I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So if I multiply 8 times 2, I have to multiply the 1 times 2. Yeah, excuse me. To multiply the 1 times 2 as well. So each of these will become 1 and 2/16 plus 1 and 2/16. Now there are a couple of ways I could do this. I could turn these fractions into improper fractions, these mixed numbers into improper fractions. They would look something like this. 1 and 2/16. 1 times 16 is 16 plus 2 is 18. So these would both be 18/16. And then I could add across, or I can add across with the fractions and leave the whole numbers for later. And I think that's actually what I'm going to do here. So let's bring these 5/16 down. 5/16 plus 5/16. Because these fractions are going to be fairly simple, I think, to add separately from the mixed numbers. If you prefer to do mixed numbers, that's totally fine. You can definitely do mixed numbers too. So 5 and 5 is 10, plus 2, this is just the fractions, plus 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 5 is 19, plus 5 equals 24. I can do that again. 5 and 5 is 10. 5 and 5 is 10. That's 20. 2 and 2 is 4. 16 stays the same. Oops, I forgot to give myself room for my whole numbers there. So this, 1 plus 1 equals 2. So I'm going to add plus 2 here. So now my fraction is 24/16 plus 2. I can't leave 24/16 like this, though. I have to simplify it. How many times does 16 go into 24? Well, I know 16 times 2 is 32, so it's not 2, it's just the 1. So 24/16 equals, let's do it in green, equals 1, and 16 to 24, 16 to 20 is 4, plus 4 is 8, so this is 8/16 plus 2. And that will equal 3, because 1 plus 2 is 3. And 8/16, I recognize that. I just said earlier that 8 times 2 is 16, so I can divide both of those by 2 and get 4/8, and then divide by 2 again and get 2/4, and divide by 2 again and get 1/2. Or I can divide both of them by 8 and get 1/2. 1/2. And that, my friends, is the perimeter of this shape. Just adding. So P equals 3 and 1/2 what? 1/2 inches. 3 and 1/2 inches. Obviously, I drew this a little too big. 5/16 of an inch is less than half an inch, so it really should have been like this big. But it's not to scale. Doesn't need to be to scale. Add fractions. Add perimeter with fractions is just adding fractions, but there's a shape involved. It's the only difference.